Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm really thrilled to be here today from Citizens of the World Charter Schools. We are a national network serving intentionally diverse groups of students. And right now, we are developing an ambitious vision for a new middle school model that not only masters deep cognitive skills for our kids, but also empowers them to be trailblazers in the world. So you may ask, why middle school? Oh, there we go. It's getting excited. As we know, age 11 to 14 is a really unique period of time. If we can actually be brave enough to go back there in our own memories of middle school experience, it is a time of monumental change, intellectually, socially, emotionally, physically. And personally, I don't believe in society that we actually know how to address this. What I've seen is that our responses either are based on logistical consequences or quite simply fear. Logistically, sometimes we're just finding enough space for our middle schools so that we either extend the elementary school up or we extend the high school down. The similar pattern around fear. What I see is that we are often afraid of this time of change for our students. We ignore the period where they are having strong opinions and responses, and we either try to keep them young or we try to get them ready for that 8th grade graduation. So we want to create a new model that is based on those realities and also the following. This is where I need to have my waiting music because the slides are not behaving themselves. Okay, so the first reality is that I believe that a lot of high quality middle school experiences out there are rare. And if they do exist, they are not available for all students. The second reality is that academic outcomes are not going to be enough for our students to go out there and really thrive in the world. And so at CWC, not only are we focusing on academic outcomes, but we also focus on outcomes based on social and emotional development and difference and inclusion. And as I mentioned, often we are not responding to where students are at today. We are focusing on that 8th grade graduate instead of actually giving them what they need in terms of a 6th grader. And lastly, when we look at the divisiveness in our world and our country today, this is further evidence that we need to rethink schools. And we need to create places where diverse communities come together for understanding, for empathy, and for action. We hope to create microcosms of what is possible that actually can have ripple effects out there beyond our classroom walls. Here at CWC, that is our North Star. This is our charge. This is why we exist. And we're also affirmed that we are very uniquely positioned to accomplish this. You may ask why. Well, firstly, as I mentioned, we have intentionally diverse groups of students in our schools. We also have educators who really have a firm belief in pedagogy based on deep learning with an equity lens that drives all of our work. This is an example of our new middle school model, a typical day that a student might experience. And perhaps one of the first stark differences that you see here is that it's not as frenetic as a typical middle school day. We started piloting 2 aspects of these. The first is courses, and the second is learning fellowship. So if we first take this program component of learning fellowship, this is where we are cultivating deliberately skills in student self-understanding, empathy, adaptability, and cultural competency in an explicit way. The pilot focus this time around was on peer coaching. where we really wanted to test whether this content was relevant and engaging for our students. What was fascinating here is in peer coaching, students were helping a partner to solve what was taking up space in their head, what was an issue that they were bringing to school that they were concerned about. And instead of that partner just saying, you know what you should do, X, Y, Z, or trying to solve the problem for them, they learned to ask questions, different types of questions, to coach their partner to a deeper understanding of what was going on. And here is what we found, both in student surveys and in interviews. And one of the most exciting parts for us was that this was an authentic way for where our kids actually broadened their experience and their perspective of what other students in the classroom were experiencing. They were shocked at the day-to-day lived experience of some of the other kids in the classroom. The second pilot focused on this other component of courses. Very different experience where we're really diving into systems thinking, critical thinking, and where we're explicitly teaching kids how to be global advocates. Here, the pilot focus was students exploring a topic of their choice. And here we were really measuring whether students developed skills within critical thinking. Here's what we found. Some highlights from student interviews. And one of the most compelling pieces of this pilot was that we were so excited where students actually had greater autonomy over their learning. These early pilots are revealing insights on how we need to continue to strengthen, both in terms of our design and our execution of this new model. But they're also illuminating the fact that we need the immediate power and impact of putting students at the helm of their learning, where they're solving each other's challenges and they're developing creative solutions for the world in which we live in. One student at the end of the pilot shared this. This feels like we're learning things that we're really going to need outside of school today and in our future. And our team couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for your time.